Chapter 2. The function of our mind. Our mind has been explained by splitting it into mind, intellect, chitta and ego. To have the convenience of explaining our concepts, we have divided our mind into two parts, subconscious mind and conscious mind. Subconscious mind is our nature. By birth, all of us are gifted with certain specific nature and qualities. In our life, we undergo various kinds of experiences. Due to this, our basic nature too undergoes some changes. The part of the mind which holds our basic nature is called the subconscious mind. We have learned many things in our life. All that knowledge has been accumulated and saved in our memory. We have gathered tremendous knowledge. We have known many friends and relatives. They do exist in us as recorded memories. In general, we term them as our memory. Can we call the collection of these memories as our subconscious mind? Can we conclude that the memory exists in our subconscious mind? No, we don't say like that. Our nature is different. Our accumulated memories are different. There is no connection between our subconscious mind and our memories. Subconscious mind is a part of mind that consists of our nature and the structure of character. Conscious mind is the mind that we directly experience at this point of time. It is a part of the mind that we use for our day-to-day functioning. All our thoughts and emotions take place only in this conscious mind. Subconscious mind is something that cannot be accessed by us. But this subconscious mind or our nature is the basic cause of all our experiences. In fact, what we know is only our conscious mind. It is only through this conscious mind that we experience and act. Whatever we know are those things that we can understand with the help of conscious mind. The subconscious mind doesn't fall within the boundary of the conscious mind. So, we don't know anything directly about the subconscious mind. We can know only the functioning of our subconscious mind to some extent through speculation. We assume the existence of an invisible fire by the smoke that is visible to our eyes. Similarly, we can understand the subconscious mind to some extent by the experiences that we undergo in our conscious mind. If we exhibit emotions of anger or fear, we can assume that the nature of getting angry and fearful is existing in our subconscious mind. Emotions expressed as anger are specifically called the conscious mind. The nature which induces our emotions like anger is specified as the subconscious mind. Thus, we understand our mind by splitting it into conscious and subconscious mind. What we are aware of and what we directly experience is our conscious mind only. For the purpose of our understanding, we have to divide this conscious mind further into two parts such as emotional part and intellectual part. What do we mean by the emotional part? What do we mean by the intellectual part? We go through various emotions like joy, sorrow, love, hatred, anger and fear. All these are associated with the emotional part. How do these emotions occur? Have we ourselves created them? No, they occur on their own. In a particular situation, emotions arise on their own depending on the situation. Let us assume that somebody presents a gift to us. When we receive a gift, we feel happy. Our happiness is not pre-planned. It arises on its own. Similarly, let us assume that one of our expensive items has been stolen by someone. In this situation too, we do not make an attempt to get worried and become sad. Sadness happens on its own. Depending upon the situations we encounter, either joy, or sorrow comes about on its own. Is it possible to bring those emotions ourselves? If we bring the emotions that way, how will that be? Let us take an example. Let us assume that we are acting in a movie. The film director expects us to act by emoting expressions like fear or sorrow. We emote those through our facial expressions. But will those emotions be real? In the event of these emotions being real, they would certainly affect our nervous system, blood flow, heartbeat, and the rhythm of our breath. The emotions that we created for our acting don't create any such impact. They can only show some changes in our facial expressions. So, those are not real emotions. They are mere appearances. All real emotions come about naturally and they act in our nervous system. Once, a veterinary doctor described his experience that he underwent. He happened to encounter a lonely wild elephant in the forest. Though he had escaped from the elephant, out of fatal fear, he sweated so much that his entire dress got drenched. Is it possible to create and bring in such fear ourselves? It should come about naturally, not with an attempt to bring in. This part that arises on its own without our knowledge is called the emotional part. This involuntary auto-functioning part consists of feelings. The next part of our conscious mind is the intellectual part. This intellectual part doesn't function on its own. This is a part that we think and act upon. This intellect part is a willfully activated action part. Suppose that we are doing a math. That cannot happen without our intellect. We can do the math only by thinking ourselves. A student studies science or an engineering subject. He can acquire expertise and knowledge in these subjects only through his effort. The expertise doesn't come about on its own. Suppose that we run a business or run an office as an officer. We will not be able to carry out any work without the help of our intellect. Reading and understanding this book becomes possible only with the help of our intellect. If we wanted to travel to another place or to a foreign country, we plan the journey only by using our intellect. Then we execute the plan only by using our intellect. It is only our intellect that guides us to perform our actions. Our emotions act on its own, but our intellect is something that we willfully activate. Thus, our conscious mind exists as two parts, the one that acts on its own and the other that we willfully activate. All our psychological experiences are called as the emotional part. There will be continuously some experience or other in our mind each moment. All these experiences of our mind belong to the emotional part of our mind. Are we satisfied with the functioning of our mind? Does it function up to our satisfaction? Do we get only those emotions that we like? All our emotions are spontaneous and they come about involuntarily. We wish that we should never be sad, but we become sad beyond our liking. We wish that we should not get anger or fear, but beyond our liking, we become angry or afraid. This is how the functioning of our mind has come about. We also struggle to design our mind according to our wishes. Because of that, our mind always remains a battlefield. There is a need for transformation in the mind. There is a need for regulation in the mind. There is also a need for an order within the mind. Here, it is suggested that liberation alone can bring order within our mind. This liberation is nothing but the goal that our mind needs to attain. All these are related to the emotional part of our mind. How is our life structured in the physical external world? Are the various situations that we confront perfect? Are these situations the ones that do not need any change. Even in the external world, order is required. Life in the outer world is just a social setup that we have planned and established all together. If all of us act with a sense of social awareness, simple solution can be obtained. On the contrary, when everyone acts out of selfishness with a personal motive, unnecessary conflicts arise. What I need is known only to me. Similarly, what you need is known only to you. There may arise a situation where many people compete for a single thing. In that situation, it becomes necessary to bring some discipline into it. Suppose that you travel in your car from north to south. I am also traveling in a car from south to north. Both of us need to use the same road. What will happen if we use the road as per our whims and fancies? We will not be interfering in each other's journey if both of us follow the traffic rules. Like this, we need the discipline in our outer world too. Henceforth, we need discipline in our inner psychological world as well as in the outer physical world. We need to regulate both inside and outside. How to regulate? How to bring in discipline? Once, a psychologist was conducting a meeting. Around 100 people were attending the meeting. He gave to every one of them a balloon filled with air. All the balloons were of the same color. He asked every one of them to write their name on the balloon. Everyone wrote their name on their balloon. Then he asked everyone to place the balloon in one corner of the hall. All balloons were heaped in one corner of the hall. Now the psychologist instructed them. Now every one of you have to find the balloon in which you have written your names. You should find and take the balloon within half an hour. Everyone tried. Half an hour elapsed. Only 2 or 3 people found the balloons bearing their names. Now the psychologist announced, "Now you take only one balloon that you could get hold of and hand over it to the respective owner." Everyone took one balloon each and handed it over to its respective owner. Within 10 minutes, all the 100 people got their respective balloons. Like this, using our intellect, we can bring in equality in our social setup. Various law and order regulations, ethics and judiciaries have come into existence so that our external activities can be streamlined. By applying and following them properly, we would be able to create an intellectual discipline in the physical external world. With the help of the intellect, we have an opportunity to bring in order and discipline in our external actions. How to regulate our psychological inner world? Outer world or life is not in our hands. It is linked with many people. Our effort alone cannot regulate or streamline the physical external world. But the psychological world is completely in our hands only. We do not need help from anyone else to regulate it. How do we resolve our inner emotions within ourselves?